Welcome to this episode of the podcast, The Centerville Business Beat, produced by Tri-Level Productions. The Centerville Business Beat is a fun and interesting conversation with area businesses about the challenges and successes of serving the Centerville, Ohio community. Here's your host and producer, Terry O'Brien.
Hey folks, this is Terry O'Brien. This is another episode of the Centerville Business Beat, sponsored by the Heart of Centerville. All those great Heart of Centerville people, they're sponsoring this program. Today we are excited because we have Julie Chrisman of Chrisman Business Solutions.
Very good.
See, I got that.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to get there. I kept calling her Christina, and then she told me the Bobby Sherman song, Julie, and then I've got it all straight since that point in time. All right, let's go right to it. What is Chrisman Business Solutions?
Chrisman Business Solutions is a business of bookkeepers. We do bookkeeping for small businesses and nonprofits, small nonprofits.
So you're not an accounting firm.
No.
You're doing the books.
Yes. No taxes.
Which is a very crappy, hard thing to do for some businesses like me, because I hate doing it. I hate doing it.
Yes. We get the numbers ready to hand off to the CPA so that they can very quickly and efficiently do your taxes and not charge you as much.
Oh, well, that's great. All right. So let's kind of get back how you got to where you are today. You went to Alter High School?
I did.
All right, go Knights.
Go Knights.
Unfortunately, they're not as good as the Elks, but that's all right. You went to Miami University?
Yep.
All right, you kind of had a marketing background, correct?
That's correct.
You came out into the business world and you did a lot of things. You got into banking.
Yes.
You liked banking.
I loved banking.
All right.
I loved banking. I loved I loved the relationships with businesses, and regular customers that just walked in the door. It was fun being a part of their growth, and I really discovered what a numbers geek I was, I think, at that time.
A numbers geek.
Yeah, I love numbers.
You know, my wife's like that. She has the exact same background. Alter, Miami,
That's
the whole
so
thing.
amazing.
It must be something about the water in Kettering that lets you have that. Then you actually took a break and you said, I want to do something completely different. Mm-hmm. You wanted to start your own cleaning business, correct?
I wanted to start my own business. And the first thing that came to mind that I liked to do and I was good at that had low overhead was cleaning.
Yeah.
And everybody needs it. And nobody likes to do it. And I kind of like to do it.
I like to do it too, yeah.
Yeah.
But you load everything in your car, you drive it to somebody's house or business, and you go and you clean and you come out, and it's very rewarding because it looks great after you leave.
It is. It's so rewarding. I loved it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I think about when I think of bookkeeping. It's like cleaning, only with numbers.
Well, that's a really good way of looking at it. I like that.
And it's not as hard on the back.
So how long have you been focused on being an independent bookkeeper for businesses now?
A year and a half my whole focus has been on the bookkeeping, because when I did realize how hard that cleaning business, ironically, one of my first businesses that I signed on for the bookkeeping is a cleaning business. And I completely understand. I commiserate and I see everything he goes through, and I made the right decision to come over to bookkeeping because, wow, there's just a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into a lot of businesses. But bookkeeping is absolutely necessary to all of them.
Right.
They all have to pay taxes. They all have to kind of follow the same rules, and they want to focus on their passion. They want to focus on their business.
Right, and that's exactly how I feel. What's funny about your business, our podcast that we're doing here, you're one of the first people that kind of offer a business solution. Like if you were a company and you were a bigger company, you might have an accounting department, right? I don't have an accounting department,
right?
But I sure could use somebody who knows all of those things and knows how to do it. So you offer that as kind of a solution to small business owners like me who could use some help.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That is really, I guess, my niche. Everyone asked me in the beginning, what's your niche? What company are you going to work for? What kind of companies? And I said, I don't know. I think it'll just, evolve. And it has, especially since joining the Heart of Centerville, working with small businesses that have a passion for something that they love. They're not necessarily trying to get rich. They just love doing what they do. And I love to help. I mean, I've got a mortgage to pay too. So it helps that make a little money doing it, but it's not about that. It's about helping. It's exciting, again, just like in banking, to learn about how these people started their businesses, how they're passionate about it, how they run their business, and just being a part of helping keep them afloat.
Right.
Because I've also seen the tax man come in and destroy a few companies that didn't follow all the rules.
So what's your ideal client? If there's somebody out there who's looking for a bookkeeper, what is it? Because it has to be a marriage, right? It can't just be they want you and you really don't like working with them. What's your ideal client?
An ideal client is somebody that understands how important bookkeeping is, doesn't want to do it themselves.
Well, you know what? I got bad news for you. The majority of small business owners don't really understand how important bookkeeping is.
It's that I've noticed. There are some that don't, and unfortunately, that's not my ideal client, because I need somebody that understands how important it is. That understands that I'm going to bug you sometimes for questions.
Right.
You know, wow, what did you spend that on? What was that for? I don't really care. I just need to know where to put it.
Right.
And luckily, all of my clients that I've signed on for, it becomes a really close relationship. I start to feel like I'm a part of their business and their family, and it's just very rewarding.
Okay. Because you started to accumulate clients now and you're getting more and more into this, what's some of the major mistakes that you see small business owners making? What do you see when you're saying, okay, let me take over your books? What are those issues that those folks watching might be doing today that maybe shouldn't be doing?
Number one, mixing business and personal expenses.
Oh, that's a trick we all love to do.
I mean, you don't do it on purpose, but
we do it on purpose.
This is your life. You know, your business is your life. How do you separate these things? For instance, my own mileage on my vehicle, I claim all of the mileage, because everything I do, anywhere I go, has to do with my business.
Even to the grocery store.
Well, that's so minimal that at the end of the year, you can kind of carve out a little bit to say, 10% was used towards personal.
Okay.
It's not as complicated as it really needs, as people make it, but putting your vacation on your business credit card, maybe not such a good idea.
But what if you talk to a client on the golf course down in Hilton Head?
Well, we can carve something out there too.
So there's a way of carving things out. It's not all or nothing. You're allowed to say, I can allocate
absolutely
10% for this.
And that's why there needs to be a good relationship, a good, honest, open working relationship. The other mistake is those who use QuickBooks, and I am a QuickBooks expert. There are lots of other software out there that are good, but QuickBooks is my thing. It seems easy when you're doing it as an individual or a sole proprietor, but it can trip you up. There's some things you can do. You delete one transaction and it screws up everything. It can be complicated. There have been some cleanups that I've done that just, it can be a nightmare. So the next thing, the number 2, is getting a little too fancy with QuickBooks.
Number 2, don't get too fancy with QuickBooks.
Don't get too fancy.
Okay. Well, and why? Because at the end of all this, doesn't it come down to April 15th, right?
Yeah.
Where I'm giving my documents to the guy doing my taxes or the lady doing my taxes, and it's got to look right.
Exactly. That's what.
Now, do you do taxes at all?
I have done taxes for some.
Yeah.
I like doing taxes.
Oh my God.
But that's just not my. It's not my thing. I really enjoy the tax laws we were discussing earlier. It changes constantly. It's not something.
Right.
It's not really where my passion lies. I like making sure I feel a sense of accomplishment when I can hand over those books to the CPA at the end of the year. They don't have to look at it and go, what is this? What do I have to clean up? That's going to be a few extra hours and a few hundreds of dollars that the client is going to have to pay for the CPA to clean up. For them to say, oh, perfect, put it right in and finish their taxes. And hopefully what I've done through the year has been able to communicate with the business owner enough to know, I know enough about tax law to know where expenses need to go, what can be deducted, what to pull out, what to make sure we're highlighting. And hopefully I have done a good enough job of that through the year that their tax bill is not going to be too hefty.
All right. Well, so you've done taxes. You can do taxes if they ask you to, because if it's not a complex situation.
Right. A lot of sole proprietors just have a Schedule C on their own personal return.
Right.
Yeah. I've done those. Those aren't I don't love it, but I start to love my clients so much that when they say please, I might go ahead.
All right, so number two was don't get too fancy in QuickBooks, which is a great tip for those folks because I can see myself going, hey, look at this button.
Mm-hmm.
What's this button going to do? And okay, what's number three? Do you have third tip?
I really don't have a number three, other than trying to do it yourself.
Trying to do it yourself.
Trying to do it all yourself.
If you saw how I did it, you'd be saying, I got to be your bookkeeper because I wait to the end of the year. I go to Amazon, everything I bought, I download the receipts. I go, here you go, Mr. Tax Guy.
Heck, I mean, if it works for you,
well,
that's another thing.
I'm not sure it's working for me.
When I talk with folks, if you've got a situation, if you've got a system that's working for you, you're happy, your CPA is happy. A lot of times I will have CPAs come to me and say, my client needs a bookkeeper.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I get a lot of my clients is actually from CPAs.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't even realize this in all of my work with CPAs and banking, how little they really want to do bookkeeping. I mean, some of them have their own departments, obviously, that they have bookkeepers in their tax departments, but they want to do tax. That's what they do. They want to do consulting. They want to do planning, and the bookkeeping part they sometimes will parcel out. So I will contract with different CPAs to do that.
Have you come across any clients yet? You go, man, I can't believe, and you don't have to use names.
No, I would not.
Man, I can't believe they've gotten away with this for so long.
Yes. Yes.
And did they know they were getting away with it, or were they just like they just didn't know the way it's supposed to be?
Well,
they're great at cutting grass or ripping trees out or whatever, but they didn't get that.
They know. I mean, if they're my client, they know.
They know now.
They know now.
Yeah.
Some of them still aren't adhering, but there's little that I can do. If it gets to a point where I'm uncomfortable, I won't work with them anymore.
Right.
But if it's just something where I'm just advising, I think this would be a good idea, and they don't, there's little that you can do. And eventually, I have a CPA friend that says, it's all cool until the cops show up.
It's all cool until the FBI knocks on your door.
All fun and games until the tax man comes knocking. So.
Well, all right. How do you find clients? Obviously, word of mouth has been working pretty well for you.
Word of mouth for sure. I was in a BNI group for a while. Networking groups are great. The Heart of Centerville has just been amazing.
So let's talk about BMI because there's a few BMI members out in the Heart of Centerville.
Yeah.
What? Explain what the BMI is.
Business Networking International is a group where, and they're springing up everywhere. They're big business now. In the individual group, there's one of everybody. There's one CPA, there's one bookkeeper, there's one cleaner, there's one plumber, there's one of each.
So you're all referring stuff to each other.
And we're all referring stuff to each other. It's a neat organization. There's a structure to it to get to know the membership. So they say, you only work with people that you know, like, and trust. So you have to get to know, like, and trust these folks that you're referring business back and forth to. That's been a wonderful source of referrals. That led me then to the Heart of Centerville, which I find my heart here. It's, again, small businesses that are passionate about what they're doing.
So how did the BMI lead you to the Heart of Centerville?
Well, my good friend Jesse Gaither. You
have a good friend, Jesse. First off, I'm surprised he has a friend.
He's got a lot of friends. Owner of Minuteman Press in Centerville.
Oh, let's give him a plug.
Yeah, he got a plug. He was in that BNI group that I was in. I got to know, like, and trust him. He touted the Heart of Centerville. I finally came to a coffee meeting and I was hooked immediately. The people there, it's different from the other networking groups that I've been to. They're really, those networking groups really, they're trying to get business, all of that, which is wonderful. The Heart of Centerville is about helping each other. There's just more of a feeling, a vibe of helping each other, not just referring business, definitely getting to know, like, and trust each other. And it's just good energy. I just love it. It's good energy. Also, having grown up here, knowing people, just kind of getting out into the city mostly. And that's another thing I was going to mention as far as who my clients are, where they are. Because of QuickBooks Online, I can help people everywhere. I've got clients everywhere. I do have clients in other states, but I do have, most of my clients are here in Centerville. I do go to some of their offices. Sometimes I need to be in their office they have some paper things that they still like to do. They actually write checks on paper and put them in an envelope with a stamp on it.
Well, who would do that? Like me?
There are some folks that still do that. But mostly I do everything online.
Okay. So the Heart of Centerville, when you found the Heart of Centerville, did you start going to some of the events?
Yes, I immediately, and again, Jesse, this is the last time, Jesse.
I'm not going to, let's stop talking about Jesse.
He said, if you want to get involved, start volunteering. That's really you can come to meetings all day long, but start volunteering. Just do something, get involved.
Did he say many hands make light work?
He might have said many hands make light work, and there's a lot of heart in the heart, and this is where the rubber meets the road.
Oh yeah, those are the three.
Things.
That's his hit songs right there.
Those are the drinking games. So
the drinking game.
So I did. I went and I went to the merchant market. Just to see all of these businesses coming together to support each other, and then all the people in the community coming together. I have a whole new just love for shopping, investing, eating local.
Okay, but when you were at the events, were you just pouring beer, or were you actually setting up a tent and trying to show people that you're in business?
I know, yeah. I don't have a tent. I don't have anything to expo.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. How would you expo bookkeeping?
There are a few service businesses like me in the group, and we do just sort of pour beer and do as much as we can to help set up and things like that.
Right.
They try to help advertise us in different ways, these service businesses, because we don't just have
like this is helping advertise you.
Yeah. But yeah, I've thought of, gosh, if I would have a tent, what would be in there? There's not much exciting things.
A giant cash register.
Oh, that people would be giving me money. I can't be giving them.
Oh yeah, okay. So you found the Heart of Centerville to be very beneficial to you. Have you got any clients from the Heart of Centerville?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Think about 3 or 4.
Oh, that's really good.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've only been in it for a year.
Just think, multiply that by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I know, it's wonderful. I love it.
If somebody wants to reach out to you because they need your services, how do they get a hold of you?
They can go to my website,
which is
www.chrismanbusinesssolutions.com, and email me at julie.chrismanbusinesssolutions.com. That's really the best way. On the website, there's a contact info, and we'll just set up a time to meet, call, Zoom, chat.
All right, so let's pretend I need help, and I do need help in many ways. What are the first things, if I come to you and say, help me, what are the first things you're going to do?
Well, first of all, I want to know, where are you right now? What have you been doing?
Yeah.
What do you like? What do you not like? Because I do have some clients that still keep some of that piece and want to do some of it. And we kind of split the load. What are you liking? What is your business about?
So if they want to do that, but you have basically a mandatory thing where I'm going to pull your data into QuickBooks online.
Yes.
You're not going to let them use whatever
the desktop,
whatever they're using, right? You have to get access to all that stuff.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I need access to it all, and a lot of the times there's so many things out there now that just pull right into QuickBooks. There's still a lot of people that are not comfortable with the cloud. The cloud is scary, but the cloud is where we live. It just is. It's where we live. It's, the information, everything talks, but there's lots of security. There's lots of encryption, lots of data backup. QuickBooks is very good about that and constantly improving, constantly changing.
So you got to know me.
Yes.
You talked to me. You learned what my business is.
Yes.
You figured out what you're going to do for me, if we're going to co-share or co-parent this accounting thing, right?
Yeah.
And then what?
Then I'm going to start categorizing your transactions. I'm going to start watching it monthly.
My sales and expenses?
Sales, expenses, anything that's coming in or out of your accounts.
Yep.
I'm going to put put those in the right buckets of what kind of sales, what kind of expenses, and then generally at the end of the month, if I have any questions on, what was this transaction about, we'll have a conversation about that. And then when I've got everything together, that I think we've got everything matched, I'll shoot you the financial statements, the profit and loss, and your balance sheet.
Yep.
You can take a look at it and say, wow, I made a lot of money this month, or whoa, I spent way too much money on that this month.
Right. Now, do you ever give guidelines? Are you ever advising them? You ever say, hey, I think you spent too much money this month?
Yeah.
So your opinion, you jump in there with an opinion.
And until somebody tells me they didn't ask for it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, sometimes I'll say, whoa, this was a lot of money for paper clips. Did you mean to do that? There were 2 transactions that were exact amount. Was that a duplicate? Because those are not things that you're looking at every single day. You're busy with your business. But when I'm in the weeds, I am in the weeds looking at every single dollar and cent. I can say, wow, did you realize that this was an automated expense that was coming out every month? Did you realize you hadn't canceled that yet?
So you'll make suggestions.
Yeah.
You'll say, hey, did you know? Well, you ever make things like, did you know you're spending too much money on this or spending too much money on that?
I don't know about spending too much money on what. If it's their business, it's their business. They know how much they need to spend on certain things. But if things look screwy and out of whack with what they normally spend, those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. Like, to make sure that they're not throwing money out the window and not realizing it.
Okay. What have we not hit on that we should be telling these good folks while watching this podcast about your business? By the way, let me ask you one more question. What was the hardest thing that you've had to kind of overcome when you started your business? Because you kind of came from the banking world and you got into this little cleaning thing for a while. But to jump in and to do this, what's been your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge was overcoming the fear and the not knowing. And I think a lot of new businesses and small businesses feel that, is that, what am I doing? What am I doing right now? I'm just starting this business, and overcoming that uncertainty and realizing that, that just calm the fears, do what you know how to do, build your relationships with people, and the right things will happen. Good things will come out of just doing the right things. And then I think the other thing is pricing. I think everybody maybe has that issue with pricing too, or maybe it's just me. I'm kind of just starting, figuring out what that pricing is like. You kind of get it. The market determines.
Yeah, they'll tell you, no, that's too much.
Yeah,
clients aren't shy about saying that's ridiculous. No, I'm not paying that.
Yeah, so that's finding that sweet spot. And
what is your, just so we talked about this earlier, what is your, what's a minimum that you could get into my practice and start helping me out?
What's minimum monthly fee for bookkeeping is $300.
Okay.
Which is very minimum.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
It's very minimum. It's just very basic, but there are some really small companies that's
what's
all
a CPA cost? 100 and something
at least
per hour.
$150 an hour.
Yeah, the guy changing the tire at tire discount is $128 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So
a CPA is going to be way more than that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a monthly fee, depending on how many hours I think it's going to take to do all of that. What we've talked about, the categorizing and doing the reports and communications, meetings on occasion. Clients like to have monthly meetings.
Do you give monthly statements to them, like the PDF kind of thing?
Yep.
Here's how you're doing.
Yep, exactly.
Boy, that'd be nice to have.
Yeah.
Trust me, that's nice to have.
It's nice to have. It's just a nice snapshot to see where you are. And then there are some folks, very few, that I will help just kind of in a coaching scenario where they do want to do it themselves, but they just want some help getting started, maybe setting up their QuickBooks. With that, I will charge an hourly fee, and generally a minimum there is about $50 an hour.
Oh, that's very reasonable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we know how to get a hold of you. We know what you're doing. We know you're looking for a few new clients, a few good people out there.
Yes.
What do you think 2025 is going to be for you, if you had to guess?
I think it's just going to keep growing because everything has been happening slowly but surely, which I think is the right way to grow, at least for me. And hopefully by then I will have enough to have another full-time employee that is helping me, and that hopefully I'm helping at least another 10 or 12 clients by then.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've been a joy to talk to today.
Thank you.
And hopefully this hasn't been too scary.
It has not been scary, as long as I don't have to edit a video. If all I have to do is talk, I can do that.
Well, you've done a great job, too.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this has been the Centerville Business Beat. I'm Terry O'Brien, your producer from Tri-Level Records. This has been sponsored by the Heart of Centerville. We are grateful for their support to the community, and they're really growing too, by the way. They've got like 300 businesses and all these events and all the good people working there.
People want to be a part of it because it is a good thing to be a part of.
They do. And we want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all again real soon.
Thank you for listening to the Centerville Business Beat. For information about having your business showcased on an upcoming episode, please email Tri-Level Productions at terryobrien@trilevelrecords.com.